alignment. May prosperity come into everyone's lives. May they receive abundantly. May we receive abundantly. Just allowing the breath to receive anything not in alignment with this intention, any beliefs, unhealthy relationships that have blocked us from receiving, from seeing our value, from seeing our gifts. May they be released in this moment. Thank you. So just taking one final deep breath. And whenever you're ready, slowly opening the eyes. Okay. So I want to first talk about where we're moving into the consciousness of money. Then I'm going to be going into the mind, into the emotions, and into the physical reality. So we're going to be covering different bases throughout this training. The great change moving up to 2027. The consciousness of money is changing at the moment. If you think back, let's say 20 years ago, money has its own consciousness, it has its own frequency. It is energy, because our psyche projects onto this piece of paper that is very valuable, and that is energy. Go back 20 years ago, the consciousness of money was, it would go to people who weren't in integrity. It would go to people who were out of alignment. It would go to people who were in deep competition with others and who would be pushing people down. You can probably look around your life or when you were growing up, and there would be very successful people, but not all the time, but some of the time, these people weren't actually really good to other people or to humanity or these things. And there was people that were, but money currently is changing to feel the intention and the vibration of the person receiving the money. It wants to get in the hands of those that will do good with this energy, because consciousness is raising. So if your consciousness is from 1650 up until now, we've been in a certain frequency. It's more specifically a certain incarnation cross, the cross of planning, which is a little bit more mental. It's a little bit more material. And we're shifting into the cross of the sleeping phoenix, which is more solar plexus, which is more sacral, which is more life force, which is more emotional force. So we're moving more from the mind to the emotions, from the mind to the body. And as projectors, yeah, we need to do that. We need to decondition ourselves out of the mind into our emotions and into our body. It's not hard to work out, but we're obviously in a massive shift right now. 2020, 2021, it's all happening right now. I could mention many things. One of the things is astrologically, there's something called, Saturn returns, which happens every 28 years for every person. There's also there's Pluto returns, which no human really gets to feel because it happens once every roughly 250 years. But when things are created, whether it's a birth of a human or it's a business or it's a country or whatever, everything has an astrological chart. And America, which has been the leader pretty much, is going through its Pluto returns next year. So that's huge. Pluto will just come in and destroy everything that's out of integrity. It's death and rebirth. So I wouldn't be surprised if America maybe had a different flag or it had a different national anthem. It would just be a different place in a couple of years' time. And when America changes, the world changes. People have been put into quarantine. I was reading something recently that Over 70% of people don't want to go back to work 5 days a week, even if it's available. So this is more projector lifestyle anyway. Projectors aren't here to work 9 to 5. We're not here to be shoved into an office building for 10 hours a day. So the world is changing to support us, but we need to take responsibility and be like, okay, how can I also support myself in aligning to me, to my projector essence, so that I am called upon, so that I am recognized, that I am invited, that people do see my value. Because every single person on this call, you have huge amount of value. You can see very clearly there's a lot of wisdom, and each one that will show up differently in different areas of life. But it's about you recognizing yourself first, you giving yourself the space to relax, drop into your frequency, and we'll go into that more in detail. So this shift is moving into more freedom. It's moving into the age of Aquarius. It's moving into technology. We are in a quantum leap of evolution at the moment. Other gates that are going through a transmutation, just for interest's sake, is 22, 49, 59. These are other gates that are changing quite a lot as well. Okay, let's all take a breath. There probably will be a lot of information shared. As I said, this is a high-level overview. You can listen back to this, and some of the things that I talk about maybe you haven't heard before, even if it's specifically about investing in these things. Just allow yourself to receive. It's not about getting confused or overwhelmed, and you can always listen back. So just tuning into how you're feeling, your vibration, your frequency. That is the most important thing. It's not about how much we know. It's not about how good we are. It's not about what we do. It's about, how is my nervous system right now? How is my breath? That is the vibration. That is the frequency that we need to tune into. That is our gift. Cool. So projectors are here to be guides. This doesn't mean you have to specifically be a therapist or a coach or these type of things. It's not necessary. You can be anything you want and still bring the essence of what it is to be yourself as a projector into that, and be hugely of value to your environment and to those around you. So we're going to go into the frequency, how to align in this way, Projector Prosperity frequency. Also, though, it's important to start to discover, and maybe you want to write down, well, what are my gifts and talents? Because the most important thing is going to be your frequency. That is definitely the most important, because you want to be magnetic, but you also want to be some form of you want to have some mastery over something, because that's going to give you a better opportunity to be invited. So start to understand, okay, what are my gifts? What are my talents? What are my passions? Because all the way up until 2027, you want to be mainly working on your frequency, but you also want to be working on, what do I want to offer this world? And if you don't know what that is, it probably means you have to decondition to align yourself with your frequency first, and then that will come through. So you want to, when you know your passions and these things, you want to practice them, you want to hone them. Not from a place of stress. And that's what we're going to go into now. So the frequency of a prosperous projector. This is very important. And if you can receive from this training, if you can understand how to do this on a day-to-day basis, this will change your life. So the projector is here to be like a magnet because we're here to draw in invitations. So how do we increase our magnetism? Because this is where the genius lies, is when we're vibrating at that. As I've said, it's more feminine, it's more receptive, it's more open. We do not have a sacral center. So generators, they're here to do. They're here to take action. Unfortunately, we're conditioned as projectors to almost like compete with them. It's like they're here to, I've shared this metaphor before, but it's like they're here to be good at marathons, for example. And then as a projector, we grow up and everyone's like, no, you have to be good at a marathon. You have to be good in a marathon. But we're actually not. That's not our natural thing. Like maybe we're good at yoga in the metaphor. But we're trying to run this marathon. We're trying to compete with people that are actually good at it. And it's like, wow, that's so stressful. Like the only way I can beat them is if I train 3 times harder than them and push myself 3 times harder than them. But then I get burnt out and I get sick. Like this is really unfortunate. It's not until we go, the marathon's actually not for me. I don't have a sacral center. Metaphorically, yoga is for me. Okay, cool. I'm going to do that. Oh, wow. I'm actually amazing at yoga. Whatever it is for you, like the projector energy. Wow, I'm really amazing at that. And people go, wow, can you teach me this? Can you do this? It's like, wow, this is a lot easier than like forcing myself to be a marathon runner. So we just need to know that we're quite different. And we need to rewire and reprogram our nervous system back to ourselves rather than forcing it to be something else. I talk about frequency. What is frequency? Like, let's make it a bit more grounded rather than like just like spiritual frequency, like increase my frequency. What is frequency? It's your energy, it's your aura, it's your emotions, it's the unseen energy, the unseen vibration. It can be felt. And you can know your frequency or vibration by just feeling, how do I feel right now? Is it heavy? Is it damp? Is it low? Is it burnt out? Is it tired? Okay, well, if the most important thing to be prosperous as a projector is to increase my frequency, if I'm feeling heavy, dull, depressed, whatever it is, I have to do everything that I can to shift that before taking action. Okay. So most projectors focus on what we can do. We're like, well, what do I do? How do I do more? Or how can I, maybe it's like, I need to earn more money. I need to work more. And once again, this is trying to be that marathon runner. It's the wrong race. Generators are actually built for that. They're built for taking action. So we lose every time when we compete. 70% of the population are built for action. Another 10% are built for initiation, to just do what they want. So we look out at 80% of the population and we scratch our head and we go, wow, they're either doing exactly what they want and it's working out for them, or they're just like working really hard because they seem like they want to and they're just becoming quite successful. We try it. A lot of times we get burnt out. Depends on how many motor centers you have in your chart. Depends on the energetic output that you were given when you were born. Also the level of health currently. So there's different factors, your environment and things, but all things being equal, the projector will have less energy to burn day in, day out, day in, day out. We will get more run down. But we do have a lot of gifts and values. That's why we want to transfer to this way. But all we've been taught is like, well, it's how much I do, and I work hourly. So it's like, the more hours I do, the more money I make. We want to totally get out of that framework. Like earning money hourly. Ideally, we earn money for our value. You know, you could work half an hour, but the value you give could be worth so much. And you need to start realizing your value as well, which is a whole nother thing. So as projectors, we're here to guide our environment. I noticed I just slowed down my voice a bit because I am sharing a lot of information. Remember that you can listen back. We're here to hold space. We're here to tune into our environment. We're here to guide life, guide people within our environment. Now, if we're going to tune into our environment and receive our environment to know the wisdom of what needs to be guided at the right time, without forcing, without stress, without shoving our wisdom onto someone else, all these things coming from fight or flight, we need to take care of ourselves. Often very, 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 very hard for projectors to do. So just tuning in to yourself in this moment. How well do you take care of yourself? How much throughout the day are you aware of yourself, of your emotions? And are you accepting yourself? Very briefly, some things that you can do to take care of yourself. And this is often said in different ways about projectors, but this is why sleep is so important. This is why rest is so important. Movement, nutrition. What are you feeding yourself? You don't need to, but if you're wanting to get into this prosperous frequency, if you're wanting to move into alignment, into success, you need to clean yourself out so you have space to receive life. Manifestors are here to just penetrate life, to just move into life and just like bang themselves around, and this is what's happening. Projectors, we're here to receive life. So how much space is there inside you, in your mind, in your emotions, in your physical body to receive, to tune in? How receptive, how tuned in are you to your environment? Alone time, that's why it's so important. Coming back to yourself, letting all that energy go. Cleansing your aura. You know, you could use sage or Palo Santo or jump in the ocean or the element of wind or have a shower, whatever it is. And we're going to go more into this, but possibly the most important thing and one of the most transformational things I did for myself, and one of the hardest things to do as a projector, is to stop and take a pause. This will rewire your nervous system, and you will tell yourself, if you haven't done this already and you notice that you're often doing things, you'll have every excuse in the book not to just stop what you're doing. It's a karmic loop and karmic cycle that we get stuck in as projectors. When we feel stressed, we think, oh, we have to do more. I have to do more to release this stress. But then we do more and we get more stress. And it's like, shit, okay, now I'm really stressed. I've got this tight headache, lower back, everything's falling out. I got to do more. Look at my list. I've got 10 things to do. And we go through. When we're taking action from this place, we're planting seeds of stress. When you plant seeds of stress, you get fruit of stress. It's the most like basic thing, yet most projectors are literally planting seeds of stress, overwhelm, bitterness. And when you plant a seed of that, what do you reap? You reap fruit that is more stressful. So you draw in fruit, you draw in situations, you draw in relationships, people, businesses that are in that frequency, because you're creating your reality. And then we get this fruit and we look, shit, there's a person here, they're making me so stressful, they're doing this. And we're like trying to blame the fruit. We were the ones that planted the seed. Like, we've got a backyard, I'm out there planting my seeds, and I'm getting fruit that I don't even want. I wanted mangoes, I planted apples, and I'm like grabbing the apple and going, I thought this would be a mango. I'm like throwing it, I'm angry. It's like, oh no, he's just the wrong seed. And most projectors will start trying to paint the fruit. You know, oh, I wanted a mango, I'll paint it yellow. I've got to now work harder. I got to do this. I got to do this. Maybe I have to be out there. I have to be planting more, doing more. It's like, no, just grab a different seed, plant the different seed. And it's the hardest thing for projectors to do. How do you know what seed you're planting? It's how you're feeling when you're doing the action. How are you feeling? Oh, I got real stress in my shoulders and my breath is really shallow and I'm pretty pissed off right now, but I got to do this. Yeah, great. You're planting those seeds of frustration into your work. You're going to receive that feedback. You're going to receive that all the time. So if you can take one thing away from this, it's planting different seeds. And you know by the way that you're feeling is the seeds that you're going to be planting. As I said, this is a high-level overview, and there's still a lot more to be shared. If you want to go deeper into deconditioning, into the nervous system, into planting different seeds, into rewiring yourself, you can go onto the website. There's a deconditioning training specific to projectors, and that's about 16 hours worth of sharing about how to do this at a deeper level. Areas to focus on. So the projector prosperity frequency. The intention behind the action is everything. So think of like a bow and arrow, like pulling it back. But generators, yeah, they can sort of pull it back and just like fling it out, and then their energy is in the arrow and it's moving and they're like directing it, and they're like, projectors, like 80-90% is like in the pullback even before you take the action. When you pull it back, what's your intention? What's your frequency? How are you feeling? Okay, I'm going to create a training. Okay, I'm going to do a project on my work. Why am I doing that? There can be many different reasons. Someone could create something because they want to make a lot of money. Someone could create something because they're stressed, they don't have money and they have to make money. They're just planting seeds of scarcity into that training over and over again, and that's the results they're going to be getting. Or are we coming from a different frequency? Oh, I am fully trusting. I'm relaxed. I'm receiving life. I pull out my pen. I'm feeling good. I'm going to do everything I can to feel good. And then I'm going to pull out my pen and I'm going to start creating the training. And they're the seeds that are going into this training. And that's the results that I'm going to receive. It's the arrow, it's the pullback, it's the frequency. I'm going to mention about something called functional range, how to actually get into that, and also go back to pausing. So once again, where are your actions coming from? Check in your life right now. What seeds are you planting? Are you coming from fear? Are you coming from force?